Welcome back to TK Conversations and day 4 of my Road to Times Square series. So, today I want to talk about work no one clapped for. Again, the work that no one clapped for. Because so often people see visible moments, they see the announcements, the opportunities, the pictures, they see the billboard. But what they do not always see is what it required. Most of the time, people don't see the early mornings, they don't see the late nights, they don't see those moments when you had to even encourage yourself to have the early morning or the late night or to just get up and take action. They don't see the private decisions that you had to make when no one else fully understood what you were carrying. So I think it's important that we honor that part of the journey. Let's honor what is actually not seen because it's what's not seen that creates the visible part that a person does see. And I think it's very important to pause. So when I say that, let's honor what is not seen, I want you to pause for a second and honor that because we are all doing things that are not seen. But as we go throughout the day-to-day monotony of our lives, everybody only sees the outside of it. So pat yourself on the back, definitely, for all the things that you do that are not seen because they still count. They are actually the most important because without those, you wouldn't be able to see the physical and the visible and physical aspect of it. So let's think about how the healing counted, because that's not seen. The discipline counted, also not seen. The quiet rebuilding counted. How about the moments when you wanted to give up but chose to keep going? That counted. The times you had to confront your own beliefs. You had to tell that old version of yourself, you have to stay where you are. You had to use those tools that you have developed over time as you grew and evolved and recognize when that's an old version of you trying to come back out through who you're becoming. And you have to sit it to the side. The times when you choose alignment over approval. Yeah, I paused on that one because how often do a person choose alignment over approval? Because approval is getting those individuals around us, their participation. That's what we want because that makes us feel comfortable. That kind of puts us in a comfort zone. So the alignment, you choosing your alignment in yourself versus the approval of someone else. The times you had to keep becoming when there was no evidence that what you was doing was going to actually turn out the way you wanted it to turn out. No evidence at all, but you kept going. As I continue on this Road to Times Square series, I keep reminding myself that the billboard is not the whole story. It's part of my journey. It's part of the story, but I see it as a symbol. It's a symbol versus my story. Because the real story is the work that happened before anyone could see it. The real story is my resilience. It's the identity work. It was and is becoming someone who can stand in the moment without losing herself in the moment. That's what it is. And maybe that's true for you as well. As you think through it and you listen to this, really think about that. Can you stand in the moment without losing yourself in that moment? Can you continue to be aligned and true to who you are? And maybe there's a part of your journey that no one saw. Maybe there's a decision that was made that no one applauded for. And I have a ton of them. No one applauded because they didn't even know I made the decision. And then some of those decisions that they know were made, I still didn't get an applause for. Maybe there were seasons when you were becoming, you were healing, you were growing and rebuilding in private, and you felt like it was destroying you, but you were growing and evolving. And maybe today, this podcast just reminds you of that. It reminds you of how much those moments matter and how much you don't need an applause. And that goes for myself. I don't need an applause for something to be meaningful for me. I don't need an applause for that billboard that is visible, because whether it's up there or not, I've done the work. Internally, I've done the work. So I applaud myself. I pat myself on the back. So public recognition, private work, the private work is what counts. And we all love public recognition, whether we're someone that has to be told, great job, I'm proud of you. It feels good when you hear it, but make sure you also congratulate yourself about the private work that you have done. And you don't need everyone to understand the weight of what you carry for it to be real, because we carry a lot of weight. And oftentimes we want our loved ones and those closest to us to truly understand the weight that we are carrying, because we think if they understand it, then maybe they'll step in and carry some of it for us. Or maybe they'll step in and do something for us to take a load a little bit off of what we're carrying. But what you have to realize is that it's your journey. It's something that you have to carry because they have their own weight that they're carrying, and we have to do the internal work to lighten that load for ourselves, not put it on someone else. So today I ask you this: what part of your journey deserves to be honored, even if no one clapped for it? Because the work still counted. I'm going to repeat it because this is where I'm going to leave you at today for day 4. What part of your journey deserves to be honored, even though there is no round of applause? When you point out to yourself what part of your journey deserves it, because that work counted, that's the most important work, I want you to take a bow, give yourself an applause, and say, job well done. Let that light shine bright. Let it come out, because you deserve it. Thank you for joining me for day 4 of my Road to Times Square series. And until tomorrow, remember this: the work no one clapped for may be the very piece of work that made the visible moment possible. You did that. You showed up and shined bright. Have a wonderful day. This is TK. Talk to you tomorrow.